Hi, it's Lynn Shuck with Healing and Balance. We're going to be looking at triangle today. Now, there are lots of different ways to teach triangle, and this isn't the way to do triangle, but it's a way to do triangle. Often what I see in triangle is a pose where people have collapsed into the hip, the knees locked back. There's not a lot of life in the legs in terms of engaging muscles. There's some stretch, and there's some stretch in the torso, but the legs aren't really doing much. You're using the joints to hold you up. And so I'm trying to create a more dynamic version. So this won't feel the same, it won't look quite the same, but it is another version of triangle. You would start by setting up in side warrior. Press your feet into the ground, heels and toes. So you already start to feel leg muscles working. We're going to tip the torso over sideways, moving at the hips so you're not curving your spine. And then we're going to straighten that front leg by pushing down into that foot. So we're keeping the torso tipped over to the angle. Once you're there, you want to really glue that front foot to the floor, heel and toes. And we're going to squeeze the legs toward each other. The front arm rests lightly on your front leg, wherever it reaches, and the back arm up to the ceiling. And the head can look up to the ceiling or forward or even down to the floor. When we come out of it, we'll bend the front knee. We'll bring the body upright, and then we'll come up out of the legs. And let's do that on the other side. So I'll give these instructions one more time, and then I'll talk a little more about it. So we're going to come down into side warrior, Virabhadrasana 2. Press those heels and toes into the ground. Feel the legs working as you push down into the feet. We're going to tip the torso sideways. Again, I'm not curving the spine. I'm tipping my pelvis toward my front thigh. And now as I straighten the front thigh, my body gets lifted a little bit away from it, but I keep that angle. I want to keep my front foot glued to the floor, inner foot, outer foot, toes and heels. And then as I split the arms open, the front arm is resting lightly on my leg wherever it reaches, back arm to the ceiling, and then you'll turn your head wherever you choose, up to the ceiling or forward or down. Squeeze those legs toward each other so they're working. And we bend the front knee. And we bring the body back to vertical and we come up. Now, one of the errors that can happen in here is when we go to straighten the knee, some people are so used to dropping into that hip that we just collapse into that hip again anyway. And so we went from this angle to more horizontal. And if your pelvis only goes over this far, it only goes over this far maintaining that action. So try not to go to horizontal. The other thing that happens is as people straighten the legs, sometimes they get more upright. So we don't want either of those things to happen. Find that line from your head to your back heel, whatever that line is, and then try and keep it. You'll get lifted away from the floor, but you're really only using this front leg, making change in this front leg. Do you see that? I'm just moving as a unit from head to heel. Front leg is what's doing that. So that's one of the things to pay attention to. The other is that when you get set up and you've managed to keep this, that then when you open the arms up, people will suddenly decide they can go over further. But really, we're just going to work with what we're doing for this. Different kind of triangle. Like I said, it won't look quite the same. So I've got this front leg that's active because I press those feet into the floor. But when I open the arms up, I don't change anything about my torso. It's just my arms moving. And we come out of the pose. Give that a try. It's not the only way into the pose. It's not the only way into the pose that doesn't collapse into the joints even, but it's a way into the pose. And you might find that you're a little more awake, that your body's a little more alive after using it that way. And you might not, and then you go back to doing it the way you like. Give it a try, see how it goes.